So today I wanted to talk to you about bleed. And when I talk about bleed, I'm talking about color run in Navajo textiles. And that's pretty much what we're going to talk about. So if they're very early weavings, we're talking about 1860s and before, and if they're natural weavings from that time frame, like cochineal and lac, they really don't have a color run. You might get a mordant shift, which makes a color difference. So the cochineal or lac may turn from a lighter kind of a red to a darker burgundy red. But that's not really what I want to talk to you about today. It's color run that you see in Navajo blankets from about 1875, 1880 to actually you could go all the way to contemporary. So what do I want to look for? Well, there's certain things that when you see a color run, and a color run means that the color from one part of the weaving has run or bled into the other part. And there are certain colors that are easier to get out by someone who does professional restoration and cleaning than there are others. In fact, I don't even buy these rugs because I find it very difficult to get it out, and it's just not worth the effort, in my opinion. Now, if you buy them right, fine. And if you don't mind color run, fine. But black, green, and blue colors, and you'll often see these in German towns, when they run, very difficult to get out. So you need to take that in consideration. Orange and red, they can pretty well get out. Now, certain time frames of rugs, like 1890 to about 1900, they have a fugitive orangey red color, and you have to be very careful who you ever have clean these, because they may clean it, have no color run, and by the time they're done with it, now you have color run. So there's very specific people that know how to deal with textiles, and especially this 1890 to 1910 time frame can be very difficult to deal with. So you really want to know about that. And if you don't know how to identify it, then you should either buy from a dealer who does, or talk to a restorer or cleaner who really knows what they're doing. And there's a few of them around the country that are really, really good. The other thing today I'd like to talk to you about is natural bleeds. There are some natural bleeds, and these are usually in the natural colors of that have been overdyed, just overdyed, with either a walnut or a pinon pitch. So it's a black color. And so black bleed is also very difficult to get out and can be in contemporary weavings. So most weavings, and I would say almost exclusively the ones that use all natural wool, like natural grays, browns, whites, they're not going to be a problem. You can get this out. So when you're looking at a weaving, you want to look and see how bad is the color run. Is it limited to a single spot area, or is it the entire area? There's a thing called Maytag. That's what we refer to it in the business. And that means that somebody took this weaving, they threw it in their Maytag washer, and they basically just bled out the whole thing. And I actually remember one lady bringing one in once, and she goes, it was really beautiful. And I thought I should clean it before I bring it in to sell. And it was just trashed. It was, very, not only was the color completely turned to a pink rug now, then it also, not only that, but it caused the wool to puff up. And so you never want to put a weaving into a Maytag or any kind of clean it by hand unless you really know what you're doing and you don't want to have it dry clean. These kinds of things are very important when you're evaluating it. So what do you do if you have a weaving, you're looking at it and you go, I might want to buy this, but it's got some color run. Well, if it's all pink, first of all, make sure it wasn't woven as a pink rug, but generally it's not. Usually it was a red that's kind of washed throughout. They cleaned it somehow, usually themselves, and it's a pink color. And this is, if you're okay with the pink, fine. It can be expensive to try to remove these, so you really want to be careful on what kind of weavings you're going to buy. Two, if it just has some little areas where it's just kind of bled through from, let's say, the red to the white, you might want to just live with it. It's not that big a deal. And often I leave those alone, especially if it's not an expensive rug, because removing color run, and again, this has to be done by a specialist, can be very expensive. So you might have a weaving that's, let's say, 4x6. It's got a lot of color run. It might be $150 to $250 just to get it clean. So take this into consideration when you're looking at weaving. So color run happens. You try to avoid it when you can to buy these, but if you do, make sure you buy the kinds that can get out the run, the color, not the ones that have the black, blue, green. Those are very difficult to get those kind of outs. And if you do these and you look at these weavings like I do as a professional, you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble.